composers.
The 6 composers of the music in this year's concert are quite different. 2 worked several hundred years ago, 1 lived 100 years ago, and 3 are still living. Their musical styles are not similar, and they come from 4 different countries. 2 are American. Born in 1770, nearly 300 years ago, Ludwig von Beethoven was a German composer and pianist who remains one of the most admired composers in the history of Western music. His musical talent was unmistakable at an early age. Ludwig published his first compositions, a set of short pieces for the piano, at age 13. When he was 21, he moved to Vienna, Austria, and studied composition with Haydn, another well-known composer. Unfortunately, Ludwig began losing his hearing when he was only 30, and he was almost completely deaf by the time he was 45. Nevertheless, he continued composing until his death at age 57. Beethoven's work remains very popular today. In the concert, you will hear his famous Ode to Joy, a choral section from his last symphony, number 9. Giuseppe Fortunino Francesco Verdi was born in 1813 in a small village near Parma, Italy. He began studying the organ when he was only 7, and not long after became an organist at his family's church. As a child, Giuseppe began composing pieces for the church and a local orchestra. He wanted to attend the music school in Milan, but was not admitted. Determined to pursue a career in music, Verdi began studying privately with a composition teacher and became the rehearsal director for a choral group, a position that inspired him to write his first opera. While some of his early operas were not popular, he went on to become one of the most famous composers of Italian opera. At the concert, you will be invited to play and sing along with Verdi's familiar anvil chorus from the opera Il Trovatore, or The Troubadour. Canadian orchestra conductor Daniel Bartholomew-Poyser is also a composer. He is best known for creating and conducting shows designed to introduce orchestral music to groups outside of its traditional audiences by blending classical and popular styles of music. An example is his orchestral arrangement of Hlonolo Fatsa, an African folk song from Soweto, which you will hear at the concert. A native of Calgary, Alberta, he studied music at the University of Calgary and the Royal Northern College of Music in England. Early in his career, he taught high school music in Calgary, and he dreamed of conducting since he was in the 2nd grade. A passionate communicator, Daniel hosts a weekly radio program and has been a guest conductor of orchestras throughout Canada and the United States. Daniel currently holds 3 conducting positions with the San Francisco Symphony, the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, and the National Arts Centre Orchestra in Ottawa, Canada. The youngest of our 2023 composers is Rina Ismail, an Indian-American musician who was born in 1983. Ismail attended Los Angeles County High School for the Arts and earned her Bachelor of Music degree in composition from the Juilliard School in New York and a master's and doctorate degree from the Yale School of Music. Rina composes for orchestra, solo instruments, small chamber groups, and voice. Her compositions are a mix of Indian and Western classical music styles, such as her arrangement of the traditional Ram Puri Maya, which is part of the concert program. Rina lives in Los Angeles and is the composer in residence of the Los Angeles Master Chorale and the Seattle Symphony. She also is an artistic director of Shastra, a nonprofit organization that promotes cross-cultural music connections between the music traditions of India and the West. José Pablo Moncayo was born in 1912 in Guadalajara, Mexico. He started playing piano when he was 6. Later, he also studied percussion and conducting. He entered Mexico's National Conservatory of Music when he was 17, and to help pay for his studies, he'd worked at radio stations and in jazz clubs playing piano. A few years later, he joined the Symphony Orchestra of Mexico as a percussion player, and eventually he was a conductor there. During his life, he wrote several symphonies, an opera, and a ballet. but he is most well known for his huapanga. He wrote this after listening to traditional dances in Veracruz, Mexico. He wanted to capture the melodies, but found that the people who play these folk melodies never play it quite the same twice. Many orchestras perform this piece with dancers, and you may see some too. You can hear that Moncayo loved percussion. His huapango has become an enduring classic for orchestras around the world. Jim Papoulis was born in 1961 and lives in New York City. He composes, orchestrates, and conducts music for film, dance, instrumentalists, and choirs. As a young man, his first instrument was a flute. He started college at the University of Pennsylvania as a mathematics major, but soon changed his major to music and completed his undergraduate degree at the University of Buffalo in New York. Later, he earned 3 master's degrees for composition, film studio writing and production, and applied flute at the University of Miami in Florida. Jim's compositions are known for exploring new modes of musical communication by honoring and connecting classical and traditional forms with non-Western sounds. He's conducted songwriting workshops around the world and composed Oye while working with young children in Mexico. We know that you will enjoy the works of these composers.